Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Here is a question that we often hear, very often. Dear Kryon, how can a light worker, how can I, a light worker, remain hopeful when everywhere I look, the media tells me we're doomed? Now, you know this is an accurate statement. It's a question that quite often comes because today, well, it does look like you're being told one thing and I am saying another. I will give you the answer, and it's an answer which reflects your magnificence, and it's an answer that is perhaps more simple than you think. But first, let's reflect on the situation that you have on this planet at the moment. Light workers, old souls. So many of you have been around a while. And in that, you develop that which would be cultural trust, things that work for you, habits, biases. All of that is normal. Every culture does. But suddenly, you are in a culture of technology. And the technology is different from anything you've ever seen before. And so many of you are actually not aware that the habit that you would have is trust. Suddenly, with the technology, anything can be anything. Suddenly, you have media, and I'm speaking of all kinds of communication, wherever you look. And that media gives you messages. Some of them are commercial messages. Some of them are the news of the day. And others are simply messages that occur and you can't figure out what they are. There used to be a time, and so many of you know this, that what you saw on television was accurate and true, and you trusted it. In a day where there were very few channels on the television, you counted on a certain kinds of communication. And they went to you, you believed them, and you acted upon them because they were true. This is all gone. But so many of you are not recognizing that it's gone, and you continue to tune in to almost everywhere, and you get messages of doom. Why would you get messages of doom? So let's analyze, not only is there a great amount of media today that there never was before, but now enter the thing you call AI. There is an intelligence in the digitization of almost everything. Now it's artificial, but it's still there. And it can manipulate voices, faces, situations, and that appears to alter what you think is truth. So suddenly, not only you are barraged with media, but now so much of it is not so. It is not actual. It's not real. It has been designed in a fraudulent way to trick you. And that tricking you makes you do things or feel a certain way. Are you getting this? So suddenly, wherever you look, there are messages that are not so, out of any kind of integrity, most of them designed to make you either fearful or to buy something. Now, why would they have messages in the media that are fearful? And the answer is the same, to buy something. That is, if you're afraid, you clutch and cling to that news channel, for instance, you have trusted, and they're telling you to be afraid. You will tune in again to find out the update of fear. And you'll tune in again, same thing. You'll get used to the entertainers that are there. And in the process of all of that, they have you hooked in fear so they can show you the commercials that they have. It's almost all greed. Dear ones, it's important for you to understand this is not necessarily a conspiracy of fear. It's a conspiracy of greed. Some of you are getting used to this and being aware of it. You should be aware of it. You should be used to it because for years, So many of you on that trusted television channel have been receiving all of these messages that you're sick. Have you seen these commercials? You don't feel well, you're sick, and you have to buy a certain product that, of course, is a drug that you have to have permission to have, but you should. And it's commercial after commercial after commercial about how sick you are and what you need. And the strange thing about this is as you look at the fine print, you'll find even the most interesting and soft kinds of advertising for these, perhaps like pimple medicine that you need to clear your face, actually has a side effect that may include death. Are any of you aware of the fraudulent way that this is being presented to the public? And it's there, and it's there, and it's there. Did you get used to that yet? Or what about several years ago, the emails you get to say, well, you've won all of this money. All you have to do is give that person a little bit of money, administration, in order to get that winning. There are still those who are tricked from that message because they've trusted their media. They've trusted their emails. They've trusted the social media that they have, and, of course, the news. For some of you, this is not new. For others watching this, it may be. It may be a revelation. Really? You mean that that's not so and that's not true? That's correct. Now, all of this that you're seeing right now, especially pushed by the artificial digitization of what is real and not real, all of this presents a new kind of trickery, you might say, that you've never had before. So what happens to those of you who are loving and integrity and trusting individuals? Automatically, you would look at something like that and trust it. That is in your psyche. That's not because you're foolish, dear ones. It's because in the past, you didn't have those who wanted to trick you. You didn't have those who wanted to give you things that you could look at and you would say, look, seeing is believing. Not anymore. The faces that you see, saying the words that they're speaking, could also have been manipulated just to trick you. And it's often the case, more often than not. There are two questions here. How can I have hope? That's the main one. When there is so much trickery, when there are so many doom and gloom messages. That's one question. The other question is more practical. How can I trust this? How can I not trust this? Where is the discernment? How can I know what's accurate or not? There's really two questions here. The first thing I want you to get used to is this. This is not your grandfather's world. And so much of what you see is not accurate or true. Much of what you see. So I would like you to approach everything knowing that that could be. Everything you see. Now you may say, wait a minute. When I turn into the news, they're reporting the news. How can they trick you? Because they're reporting what's actually happening on the earth. Let's deal with that one first. There is a design among those who report the news to make ordinary things that are happening on the planet and also spectacular things that are happening on the planet a great deal worse than they are. In addition, there is a design to leave out any kind of hopeful thing that might be attached to it. Leave out anything that is actually good news. Even if you receive good news, watch for this, they may have an addendum on it telling you, yes, but. These things have happened, aren't they great? Yes, but. It always leads to something that is fearful. You also may have a group of light workers you're having dinner with, and they will give you what they've heard that is conspiracy of the day. And it's frightening. And you may say, well, I believe that. I was at dinner with these light workers, and that's what they told me. Dear ones, that's what they told you because that's what they also heard from somewhere else. Be aware and be wary of the same kind of message that you've heard for 30 or 40 years, or that your parents have heard and your grandparents have heard about some kind of conspiracy on this planet that's going to hurt you, poison you, or do something. Because, dear ones, that's not even practical. It's not logical that you would have something last that long without whistleblowers, even on their deathbed, telling the truth. And they're not there. So some of these things were manufactured and they were perpetually sustained. Even to this day, the doom and gloom of your grandfather revisits you in some kind of conspiracy, and you hear it at dinner from light workers. Check the facts. You have the ability, finally, to research almost everything you're hearing. And you can do it on places in places that are not biased. Did you know that? I told you I'd give you an answer, and I will right now. This is the discernment engine that you perhaps don't have or wish you did. Did you know that it's as easy as this? Light worker, old soul, anyone watching this, I want you to pay attention. Do you believe God loves you? There are some who believe that there are angels around you all the time with their hand out saying, take my hand, I'll show you the way. Understand you can be out of fear and you can be in compassion and you can have something that's going to actually let you relax out of anxiety. Did you know that? Do you believe that? Most light workers watching this program do. So the next step is obvious. Dear Spirit, give me the discernment that I need to know whether these things are true or not. That's number one. You will get the discernment. And it's going to slap you in the face when you hear biased news reporting. And you will say, did they really spin that into fear? Where is the good news? The next stage of that is, where should you get the news of the day that so many of you need and want? Because you want to be an informed citizen of your country and the planet. And the answer that I've always given is this: find it in written form somehow. Because the chances are that will be written from a journalist who went to school and learned the actual integrities and the ways of being a journalist. Those on the news are entertainers that you see on television. Get it written form. You're more apt to get a much larger portion of truth. And you're also not going to be biased by the way it is pronounced or said or given or the expressions on their face or the music that goes with it. Get it written. But more than that, dear Spirit, just give me that particular intuition that I need right now as a magnificent person that I am, born magnificent, in order to have the discernment every time I see something or read something, to know the truth from non-truth, integrity from non-integrity. There's a darker consciousness on this planet that wants to frighten you at every step of the way. You realize that, don't you? Why don't you get above it? Dear Spirit, I will not be frightened by these kinds of things because I know some of them are simply not so. And some of them are presented in the worst possible way. You'll get more sleep. Spirit honors you when you ask. It works. And that's why I am in love with so many of you. And so it is.